Good afternoon. This is DK here with Mr. V Amps, and we have ourselves here a Stroboconn 6T-5. That's the tuning unit down there. It's got a big old tuning fork in there to keep things accurate. And there's our scanner motor unit up there to tell us what pitch we're on. This is essentially what we had in our little strobo tuners that fit in a lunchbox, but this is the big Mac Daddy of them all. This is the kind of tuner that you would see at RCA Records in the 50s. Maybe Elvis tuned on something like this. This one belonged to somebody's estate, so I'm going to guess that this was probably belonged to maybe a piano tuner. That's probably the most realistic thought, but we can pretend it belonged to Elvis. That'd be really cool. So I actually did an unboxing video, but the lighting was so horrible and my melancholiness was off the charts. As you remember, the last time we did an unboxing video, we unboxed a turntable, and that video quality was crap, and my disappointment with the turntable was off the charts. So rather than being disappointed, we'll just come to the sort of crummy corner of the basement here and demonstrate this after it's already sort of passed the initial tests, and we'll take a quick look at it. I do have intentions to rehabilitate this. We're going to check all the tubes and the capacitors and make sure this has a chance to continue to live a long, healthy life. But we'll mount this up on the tripod and take a look. There's only essentially one piece missing in the kit. The lids for both the tuning unit and the scanner unit are here, and the cables, the power cable and the linkage cable, they're all here, so that's all great. The only thing we're missing is the microphone, and I actually was able to find one, the actual mic that went with these. So we'll be looking at that in a future video. So let's tripod up and we'll take a look. Okay, so we're on the tripod, and to warm this puppy up, we need to try to have a little bit of patience. We want to put the first switch on warm up, so we can warm up the motors, and we'll flip the power on switch here. And immediately we hear a whirring noise. That's the motor. And there's a motor upstairs running, which is actually a washing machine. And momentarily we should see some spin coming from the other these puppies should start spinning. And we're waiting, there we go, we're waiting for this light to kick on. Now this light will eventually get brighter. And I intend to clean and lubricate this. It was actually really cool. I got the original appropriate lubricants for this that shipped with it, the original Conn branded ones, which is great. Okay, our neon lamp appears to be illuminated fairly well, and our motors are running on 60 Hertz from what I derive. Now when we flip the switch, it will go to the tuning fork for a 55 Hertz reference as to what speed to run the motors based on. So when we flip this switch, you should hear a pitch change. And I heard it. I have no idea if the camera can hear it. And this is a new camera that gives better picture, but I think it gives crappier sound. So you can't always win. Since the original microphone is not here with the unit, I have a dynamic microphone that should work. And we'll plug that into the unit. I actually did test this with a guitar also, and it seemed to be okay. So far everything appears to work. Now if you notice, unlike the little lunchbox size strobo tuners, those would have the light on and the light would blink to the off position when you would put audio through them. This one stays dark and will illuminate only when you put audio through it. So this one has a different mojo, if you will. And yes, I'm speaking into the microphone to make that happen. So I have a little pocket tuner with some reference pitches, and they're not stone on perfect, but it should be enough to at least demonstrate what we want to demonstrate. So this should be a C beginning over here. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more gain over here. And the C does appear to have stopped, and it looks like there's a harmonic to the G, because the G looks like it's stopped also. I'm sorry, so we went from C, now we have C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Once we get to the higher pitches, it starts to look better, and it's because of the itty bitty crappy speaker inside of this little pocket tuner. G sharp, A, that's our A440 reference tone. A sharp, B, we're back to C in a higher octave, that looks much better. C sharp, D, D sharp, E. This small speaker puts out a pretty clear audio signal by the time you get into the higher fourth and into the fifth octave. F, G, which is a little flat from this tuner, G sharp, which is a bit flat. No, I'm sorry, that's G sharp. A sharp, B, back to C, C sharp, and then it goes down to a low frequency, that is the lowest A sharp and A sharp 2, which is the lowest pitch this thing can generate. And it actually looks to be a little on the flat side. So, assuming my tuner is generally crap, which it's not too bad, but as a reference pitch, I consider this to be much, much more accurate. And you can adjust the A440 within a few thousandths of a semitone. It's very, very accurate. This has a humming 50 Hertz tuning fork down in the bottom. So upon initial checkup, it works. I'm going to guess this is maybe 50s or early 60s, as it has flathead screws all over the place. And only the earliest of my Conn Stroboconn tuners had flathead screws. The later ones all had the Phillips heads. This has a lot of flatheads on the sides anyway. On the face it does appear that we have Phillips, but on the sides they're all flatheads. So this could be anywhere from the tail end of the 40s up through maybe the end of the 60s. And this is the later schematic, because the tubes that drive this, I see 6 V6s all over the place. Earlier versions had 6 L6s, so this should be a later unit. That's good news for me, because I'll probably have less surgery to do on it. But as far as I can tell, the unit on a basic level functions properly. So we'll put it back with an original, period correct, Conn Stroboconn mic, the microphone that shipped with these, and we'll clean it up and make it look really nice. But as far as accurate tuning, this is going to be the coolest little centerpiece to our studio. It's accurate, it works, and we're going to test and play with it a little bit more, but heck, it works, and it's just a really retro cool piece. Strobo tuning is definitely one of the most accurate ways to tune, if not the most accurate way to tune, and this is the big granddaddy of them all. Now if you have different instruments, by default you'd be in the key of C, but if your instrument is in the key of D flat or E flat, there's a little slider here that will adjust your chart so you don't have to transpose mentally, which is kind of nice. So instruments, it basically has between B flat, F, E, D, or C. We're going to obviously be using it in C because we're probably going to tune a lot of guitars with it, and the guitars are in C. In looking at this, it looks like maybe, just maybe, this has a curve to it. I don't know if that's normal or not. I think it is. I would think if there was a bad bend in it, I would see some kind of strange anomalies, but everything appears to work. We'll do a little bit more examination of all the things that we have with it, take a quick walk around, and call it a victory. With it still on and operating, it sounds a little bit like a film projector. Our plate reads 105 to 120 volts, 50 to 60 cycles, 2.5 amperes. To service tubes, remove the side panels, which there are specific side panels that allow you to get at just the tubes. Down here we have our connection plug here, and there is a switch. I don't believe it's labeled on-off. It looks like it's labeled low or high. Low or high, I'm not sure what the reference to that is. We have to go through the user manual to figure it out. It's on low and it seems to work, so if it's not broken, don't fix it. I think you can see a little bit of tube glow creeping out between the two. We have our fuse up there. Around the back we have a little bit of scuffy paint, maybe moisture. These are the doors it was talking about to service the tubes. There are some 6V6s in there. There should be a rectifier tube, which is probably a 5Y3 or a 5U4. I've seen them both on schematics. And then we have like a 6 NC7, or I have to look it up, but there is a metal tube in there. 6SC7 I think is one of them. And then there's like a 6J7, I think. Don't quote me on that because I'm still trying to remember. And then here's our lower unit, and there appears to be an adjustment pot sitting right here. What that does, I'm not 100% sure. But with a lot of these things, if it's not broken, there's no need to fix it. And this unit appears to work well. So in taking this apart, we're going to probably just take the time to clean it and check for excessive heat buildup that may occur in the transformers or the capacitors, and replace any capacitors that are failed or leaking, and then we'll call it a victory. Give it a bath, get it nice and clean, get it polished, get the original microphone back with it, and then make it a nice little shelf to hang on the wall in our sound lab. So whenever we want to make a new record and we want to make sure our guitars are spot on in tune, we can do that. I've used the smaller portable Strobo tuners from Conn to tune pianos with amazing results. If this thing wasn't so darn big, or if we owned a piano here, I would love to try it. That would probably be amazing. So essentially, historically, this would be the most accurate tuner for several decades that you could own. And now we have one here at our sound lab. How very cool. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.